Welcome to NTD Newsroom. I'm Don Ma. A deadline for Iran is ticking closer as President Trump threatens to intensify strikes that he says could destroy a civilization. What the administration is saying today and how Iran is responding. Iranian officials urge their people to form human chains around power plants as they face a deadline set by President Trump. Vice President J.D. Vance in Europe today laying out two paths for Iran: normalize or face deepening economic pain. A significant step in the Trump administration's effort to crack down on the misuse of public funds. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche just announced the creation of a National Fraud Enforcement Division at the Department of Justice with an additional 93 prosecutors in every district across the country. Voters in Wisconsin and Georgia ahead in the polls in key races that could shape the political landscape ahead of the midterms. President Trump speaks to the crew of Artemis II as they make history and what the astronauts witnessed from the far side of the moon.
This is NTD Newsroom, live from our global headquarters in New York City.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. The U.S. and Israel have hit targets on Karg Island as President Trump's 8 p.m. deadline is approaching for Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz. The president this morning saying there's still room for negotiation. Joining us now live is NTD's White House correspondent Iris Tao. Good afternoon, Iris. What is the latest from the White House?
Good afternoon to you as well, Don. So we're right now just 6 hours away from President Trump's 8 p.m. deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And at this hour, we are seeing a Marine sentry standing guard standing right in front of the West Wing, meaning that the president is right now working inside the Oval Office. And this morning, the president again refreshing his ultimatum on Truth Social, posting saying that a whole civilization will die tonight if a deal isn't made. He adds that now that we have complete and total regime change where different, smarter and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? He again calls it one of the most important moments in the history of the world. And this morning, meanwhile, Vice President J.D. Vance, speaking in Hungary, says that there is going to be a lot of negotiations happening between now and tonight's deadline, while adding that the U.S. is doing this for the world's good. Watch.
We're going to find out, but there's going to be a lot of negotiation between now and then, and I'm hopeful that it gets to a good resolution. We're doing this for the right reasons. We're doing this because we don't want a regime that has committed acts of terrorism to have the world's most dangerous weapon, because that would mean a lot of innocent people dead.
Meanwhile, the president this morning telling Fox News in an interview that at this time, 8 p.m. is happening, while also noting that if negotiations move forward today and there is something concrete, that could change. Meanwhile, the Central Command this morning posting pictures on X showing Marine forces firing weapons during a deck shoot abroad amphibious assault ship USS Tripoli in the Middle East region. And that sends Iran a reminder that the U.S. does have ground forces in the region if the president needs them. Back to you.
So a lot to watch for sure in the coming hours. But Iris, how has Iran responded so far?
So Iran has rejected any temporary ceasefire while it's setting its own conditions for negotiations. It's even calling on its own citizens to form human chains around power plants amid President Trump's threats to really devastate Iran's power plants as well as its energy infrastructure. Meanwhile, Mike Waltz, the U.S. envoy to the United Nations, today really calling out Iran for its behaviors of using proxies and even using human shield to protect their military. Let's take a look.
Secretary General himself affirmed Iran hides military hardware in hospitals and schools and civilian neighborhoods for propaganda purposes in the most sick and despicable way. Don't take that from me. Take that from the Secretary General and his own report.
Using human shields in this kind of regard is a violation of international law. Meanwhile, the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio today also calling out Iran, accusing it of an act of terrorism by attacking commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz, where 1/5 of the world's oil passes through. Here's him speaking today. Watch.
The whole world's been impacted, unfortunately, because Iran is violating every law known by striking commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. And it's a big problem for the world. I mean, this is a regime that doesn't believe in laws, rules, or anything like that. It's a state sponsor of terrorism. So it's not surprising that they're now conducting terrorist activity against commercial vessels. So.
And Don, just earlier today, Russia and China at the UN vetoed a resolution aimed at reopening the Strait of Hormuz, and this coming just hours before President Trump's 8 p.m. Eastern Time deadline tonight for Iran to reopen that strategic waterway, or the U.S. will attack Iran's bridges and its energy infrastructure. Back to you.
All right, Iris, thank you. The United Nations today failed to pass a resolution that urged nations to secure the Strait of Hormuz. Bahrain introduced the resolution. Here's the foreign minister of Bahrain addressing the Security Council through a translator.
The Islamic Republic of Iran has no right to close this waterway to international navigation, nor to deprive the peoples of the world of these resources essential for life. In doing so, it violates international law, the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, and fundamental ethical and humanitarian principles.
The majority of the UN Security Council voted in favor, but with vetoes from China and Russia, the resolution still failed to pass. Pakistan and Colombia abstained. The resolution encourages nations to coordinate defensive efforts to ensure the safety of navigation through the Strait of Hormuz. This includes the potential use of escorts for merchant vessels and other actions to deter obstruction of the waterway. Bahrain currently holds the Council's rotating presidency. The kingdom's civilian infrastructure and energy sites have been under attack from Iran since the start of the war. Bahrain is a U.S. partner in the Gulf region that depends on the strait to export its oil and gas. The State Department is ordering all Americans in Bahrain to shelter in place until further notice. The U.S. Embassy in Manama is suggesting Americans to remain in a secure structure and stay away from windows. They should also have supplies of food, water, medications, and other essential items. The embassy is asking people to check their email for updates or last-minute changes. The embassy suspended all routine consular services. Americans should contact Manama consular at state.gov in case of emergency. The Israeli military calling on Iranian citizens to avoid train travel. The Israeli Defense Force posting on X in Farsi, the official language of Iran, early this morning. It asks Iranians to refrain from using and traveling by train throughout Iran until 9 p.m. local time. The post says their presence on trains and near railway lines endangers their life. The post comes as Israel conducts a massive wave of attacks against dozens of infrastructure sites across Iran. Oil prices are up again today. The International Energy Agency saying the current oil and gas crisis is more severe than those of 1973, 1979, and 2022 combined. Brent crude was at $110 a barrel as of this afternoon. Meanwhile, West Texas Intermediate crude was up more than 2% at $115 a barrel, a 4-week high. In an effort to rein in prices, International Energy Agency member countries agreed to release part of their strategic reserves last month. In addition, the U.S. announced the release of 172 million barrels from its Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Oil-producing nations that are part of OPEC agreed on Sunday to raise their May oil output quotas by 206,000 barrels per day. President Trump says tonight is one of the most important moments in the history of the world as the deadline approaches for Iran to make a deal with the U.S. and open the Strait of Hormuz. Joining us now is Kervin O'Quinn, former lead intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance coordinator for the U.S. Army. Kervin, thank you for joining us today. Trump is saying that a whole civilization could die tonight. I'm just wondering here, why isn't Iran meeting U.S. demands immediately? If I were Iran, I would be terrified right now.
Yeah, well, first of all, I would say it's great to be on, but I'd rather be on under different circumstances. And Don, the last time I think I was speaking to you, we were talking about Trump saying that he had closed down Venezuelan airspace. And we kind of chuckled at the fact that we are seeing these huge diplomatic expressions publicly done on social media, and that we would hope that something worse would not happen on Truth Social or TikTok. And now look what we have here. We have a sitting president of the United States saying it on social media, an entire civilization is going to be wiped out. Now, is what I would like to believe here, and what my assessment here is, that this is Trumperbole. What he is doing here is what he has done for the tariff war, where he's trying to get a response out of the other party. And you bring up such a great question here. Why is Iran not responding like, say, Japan did during the tariff wars, where everyone started to capitulate to Trump's tariffs? And I think, and my assessment is, that the problem is no one knows who's running Iran right now. You have a supreme leader that we have not seen publicly since he has been named the new supreme leader. You have a president who's publicly saying one thing and privately doing another thing. So that's the Iranian president there. And now you have an entire civilization who is left in the dark, only gets Iranian state media. So I think right now, some parts of the Iranian regime feel emboldened. They are going to, like I've said with Putin, you just test the bully and you say, hey, are you going to do what you say you were going to do? And we are going to live with that. So what we're seeing right now are two competing adversaries going at each other verbally, and we're going to find out tonight, who outlasts who.
So some are raising concerns of President Trump's threats, such as, bombing Iran's power plants. But President Trump said yesterday, and we've seen social media posts as well, President Trump saying that the Iranian people will be willing to endure such action if it means lasting freedom, right? We're talking about decades into the future. What is your view on this?
Yeah, I think that's the correct assessment from the U.S. Trump's getting that from U.S. intelligence, that there are factions within Iran, a majority of the Iranian people, who actually are waiting for the regime to go away so that they're free. And just like you mentioned there, we're not looking at today or the next week or the next month. We have people who are looking decades down the line about how their life can be better if the regime is moved away. Now, the dichotomy of that is what we are seeing with these human shields. And so you're going to see a lot of posting on social media about how the Iranian people's sentiment towards the regime has changed. And I will argue that that is not true, that the Iranian regime is putting pressure on a certain amount of people to risk their lives. Otherwise, their families will die, to be human shields here around these facilities. And that is to test the Trump administration, first to see if the Trump administration is willing to still strike where there's human shields at. And second, if the U.S. does do that, they know that the international community is going to come out in waves. Look, it's already all over social media. If you are perpetually online, like some of us are, myself included, you may believe that, one, Trump is going to drop a nuclear bomb on Iran, or two, he is going to, fire upon human shields, and that Iran is actually either winning this war or they are the more popular fighter in this conflict.
Okay, you were right to question whether the Iranian regime, is forcing these people to go to these places around power plants where President Trump has threatened to bomb against their will. Can you just give us your comments? Because it seems strikingly similar, the tactics that the terrorist group Hamas used when Israel was trying to get rid of Hamas, that it was hiding behind civilians.
Right. And so like I always say on my podcast this week, Explained, it all depends on who you believe and who you want to trust as your sources. But yes, Hamas has used human shields. What is Hamas? Hamas is an Iranian proxy. So where did they learn those tactics of utilizing human shields? From the Iranian regime. And so Iran is using that tactic now to, like I said, one, to see if the US or Israel will attack these sites and risk human lives, Iranian lives, and risk a PR disaster. And two, whether neither the U.S. nor Israel will do that, and whether they will capitulate or make it seem like they will capitulate to the Iranian regime. And so then the Iranian regime can boast once again that they have defeated the Israelis, they have defeated the United States, and that the will of the Iranian people have won. And that's what we are taught right now. That's the deadline we are coming to. Trump wants a victory and he wants peace, or a ceasefire, and the Iranian regime wants to survive another day and be able to claim victory in this conflict.
Okay, it wants to survive another day, but let's say hypothetically, if President Trump, if Iran doesn't come to the table first, President Trump is going to attack the power plants. If it wants to survive, how can it survive? What is its strategy that all the power plants are destroyed, all the bridges are destroyed? How does that work in its favor?
Well, it doesn't work in the Iranian people's favor. It will work in the Iranian regime's favor because they have two countries that are adversarial to the United States that can prop up the entire country. And that is, from a lesser extent, the Russian Federation, but from a greater extent, the People's Republic of China, the PRC, who are already providing petrochemicals to fuel the missiles that are attacking sites in the region. They are providing Iran with, sanctioned finances to prop up the regime. China wants to see this conflict continue because that puts less resources in the Indo-Pacific, and that gives China much easier access to Taiwan, which is exactly where they want to be sitting right now.
But wouldn't you say it's a better strategy to agree to the terms to the U.S. right now so it can avoid the possible consequences, and then it could talk about its plans after it gets it overcomes this hurdle? Just agree to the U.S.'s demands and talk about what you're going to do later.
Yeah, I think that I would love to see that. Make no mistake, I don't understand what's going on through the minds of the Iranian regime. They are backed in a corner right now. I would assess that they believe that what could be seen as a defeat, which it would be if they capitulate now to Trump's demands, and they feel emboldened by the international media's portrayal of Trump as a madman. And he's not helping himself with these social media posts. But what I would say is the Iranian regime is backed in a corner. If they lose, if they capitulate, there is a chance the people of Iran rise up and go after the regime. And that, I think, is much more dangerous than any U.S. strikes within the borders of Iran. The people uprising and starting a revolution in Iran, which, by the way, they should do. This is my opinion. They should rise up against the regime. That is a lot more dangerous to the regime than Israel and the U.S. can do to them, save a nuclear weapon.
Right, that is a good point. I also wanted to talk to you about the Strait of Hormuz. So Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard warned today that it would deprive the U.S. and its allies of the region's oil and gas for years if Trump carries out this attack. So in your assessment, does Iran have the ability to do this, especially, for years to come into the future?
Yeah, Don, that's a great point that you made, because you asked the question that I was going to answer, that in the short term, yes, they do have that. But in phrasing the question the way that you did, the answer is no. Long term, do they have the ability to do that with the amount of sanctions that are on Iran, the dwindling missile stockpiles that they have, although they do have some missile stockpiles left? long term, they have no way that they can do that without the help of, other allies within the region. And look, they don't have many allies in the region. Saudi Arabia is not an ally; they are an adversary. Bahrain, the UAE. Look, Pakistan, another nuclear power, is siding with the U.S., Saudi Arabia, and Israel in this, and says that if any attacks on Saudi Arabia happen, Pakistan will get in this fight. So Iran's in a tough position right now, and what they're doing is trying to seem like they are that existential threat that Israel thinks that they are, because if they can pose themselves as a threat, then those in the region are going to be less likely to begin attacks within their borders.
Okay, just one final question here. How do you see this war coming to an end? I mean, it's easy to imagine if Iran agrees to the deal in the next 6 hours, it's easy to see how the war could come to an end. But if it doesn't agree, what conditions do you see for this war coming to a conclusion?
That's a tough one there. What the hope is that both sides can come to an agreement in good faith, that each side can say, look, we came out victorious. We've got Vice President Vance, who is stating that all military, there was a huge military success and all military targets have been accomplished. And you have Iran that says that they are still the power in the Middle East, and they have all of these missiles. So if they could find a way that both look like they have come out victorious of this, that would be great. If that does not happen, and a huge another swath of air strikes happen in Iran, I don't know where this ends. I don't believe it ends with boots on the ground within Iran. It might end up with boots on the ground on Karg Island to secure the oil. It might end with more excessive strikes, and then Saudi Arabia and Pakistan getting in and suppressing Iran and forcing them to make a capitulation and a ceasefire deal within the next week or two. But the next 12 to 24 hours are going to really tell us a lot.
Yeah. First, we have to wait 6 hours, and then President Trump said this war could come to an end 2 to 3 weeks. So either way, we won't have to wait too long, I suppose, to see what happens. But really enjoyed speaking with you today, Kervin. Thank you.
Don, I love the conversation as always. And as I always say, stay safe out there.
Thanks. Vice President J.D. Vance in Europe today laying out two paths for Iran: normalize or face deepening economic pain as President Trump sets a hard deadline for action. A former Muslim turned Christian pastor says Iranians are turning to Christianity. What are the main drivers behind these conversions? We talked to her after this break.
This is how I keep my joints happy.
Omega XL is a powerful natural supplement backed by 40 years of clinical research. Take control of your pain, like Cynthia Bailey.
My knees in particular started giving me pain issues all the way back to my modeling days, from just running through airports, photo shoots. After taking Omega XL, I really started to notice how less stiff I was, especially my knees and my hip. Has Omega XL changed my life? Yes. I barely notice my joint pain anymore. Now I'm like literally sprinting through the airports. My secret is Omega XL.
Pick up the phone and call now to get this exclusive TV offer. Buy one Omega XL and we'll send you a second bottle absolutely free. You'll also get a free bottle of Vitamin XL D3. Buy one, get two free. A total value of over $115, all for just $49.95. You save more than 55% and shipping is free. Backed by a money-back guarantee and is not available in stores. Operators are standing by, so call now.
I trod on my glasses yesterday, and I had to pay up front for a new pair that I can't even pick up for another 10 days. So I looked for another way, and I found Select Specs. I ordered online. My new glasses just arrived this morning, and I can pay over the next few weeks. This is the way to buy glasses.
See now, pay later with Select Specs. Next day delivery and deferred payment options. Only at selectspecs.com.
There's a whirlwind of emotion and activity going on in this painting. and this chaos all around and threat from below. The wolves surrounding her, and they're anything but unmoved. They're moving all the time, and we sense that. But this little girl remains unmoved.
Vice President J.D. Vance speaking in Europe today alongside Prime Minister Viktor Orban in Hungary. Vance saying the war in Iran is going to conclude very shortly. He says the U.S. has largely accomplished its military objectives in the war and that the nature of the conclusion is ultimately up to the Iranians.
I think there really are two pathways, and I'm oversimplifying this a little bit, but I think pathway one is where the Iranians decide they're going to be a normal country. They're not going to fund terrorism anymore. They're going to be part of the world system of commerce and exchange, and that's going to mean much better things for them economically. It's going to mean better things for the peace and safety of the world. It's going to mean a lot of good things for a lot of people all over the planet. That's option A. Okay. Option B is if the Iranians don't come to the table and they stay committed to terrorism, to terrorizing their neighbors, not just Israel, but of course their Arab neighbors too, then the economic situation in Iran is going to continue to be very, very bad, and frankly, it will probably get worse. You know, the second question you asked about, is God on our side? Is God on, whose side? I think my attitude towards military conflict has always been to pray that we're on God's side. And my own view is that we're doing this for the right reasons. We're doing this because we don't want a regime that has committed acts of terrorism to have the world's most dangerous weapon, because that would mean a lot of innocent people dead.
Vice President Vance says the central question is what Iran looks like after the war, calling that the focus of ongoing negotiations. He says President Trump has been clear that Iran is trying to impose economic pressure through the Strait of Hormuz, but Vance adds the president believes the U.S. has far greater ability to inflict economic costs on Iran than Tehran can impose on the U.S. or its allies. He also says he hopes the Iranians will be smart. The vice president also commenting on U.S. military strikes on Karg Island, Iran's largest and most important oil refining and storage facility.
My understanding, having talked to Pete and General Kane about this, is that we were going to strike some military targets on Karg Island. I believe we have done so. The president's deadline has been followed by us and everybody else, and he said very clearly, we're not going to strike energy and infrastructure targets until the Iranians either make a proposal that we can get behind or don't make a proposal, but he's given them until Tuesday at 8 o'clock. So I don't think the news on Karg Island represents a change in strategy or represents any change from the President of the United States. He continues to say the deadline is 8 o'clock, and the deadline is for what? Fundamentally, what Iran is trying to do, because they've been defeated militarily, is they're trying to extract as much economic pain on the world as possible. And the President of the United States is a man who recognizes leverage, that if the Iranians want to exact a certain amount of pain, the United States has the ability to exact much, much greater pain.
The vice president also voicing strong support for Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban ahead of Hungary's upcoming election. Vance says he wants to help Orban as voters prepare to choose their next prime minister in about a week. He says he's not expecting Hungarians to follow his lead, but says his visit is meant to send a message, especially to European Union officials in Brussels. Vance criticizing what he called the bureaucrats for undermining Hungary's leadership. He also praised Orban's policies, especially on energy security. He said Hungary has avoided the worst of Europe's energy crisis due to Orban's approach, causing it a potential model for the continent. The Iranian regime is asking its citizens to form so-called human chains around power plants as President Trump threatens to strike Iran's infrastructure if a deal is not reached by 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. An Iranian minister in charge of youth affairs is urging young people, including athletes, artists, and students, to join those human chains. This comes as people in Iran continue to have limited internet access. Authorities cut connectivity when the war began, meaning many Iranians are receiving limited information about the war. Iran has executed a man for attempting to storm a military installation during a public uprising earlier this year. State media reported that he was the fourth individual in the case to be hanged in the last several days. The organization Iran Human Rights said he's the 10th political prisoner to be executed in a little over a week. Amnesty International said another man convicted in the same case faces execution in the coming days. The Iranian regime cracked down on demonstrators in January amid nationwide protests against the government. Iranian authorities said the defendants had tried to seize weapons and military equipment during protests. According to Amnesty International, several defendants are facing execution in connection with the demonstrations, adding that some have been tortured. To talk about the current state in Iran, joining us now is Isik Alba, former Muslim turned Christian pastor. So first of all, thank you for coming on the show today. Just to start off, can I just ask you, it's very interesting here. What made you become a Christian pastor, given your Muslim history?
Well, thank you so much for having me on the program. It's a long story, but I grew up in Istanbul, Turkey, as a devout Muslim, and I memorized most of Quran during my childhood. On the day I was going to commit suicide, Jesus Christ revealed himself to me in a miraculous way, and I surrendered my life to Jesus. So from that moment on, everything turned upside down or side up down. God changed my heart and my love for people, of course.
Can you just talk to us about how has your understanding of truth, for example, faith and freedom evolved through this journey of yours, through your life?
Well, it was a very painful journey. Of course, I grew up during civil war years in Turkey. So what is happening in Iran right now, very personal to me. I have seen arms and legs flying in air, people killing each other in front of my eyes when I was a little girl. And I saw the radicals and how Islamic jihadist ideology can hurt and put in invisible chains so many people, and I was one of them. So coming to Christ, of course, changed my life, my perspective, my identity completely. And from the day one, I started becoming a soul winner for Jesus.
Okay, so you bring up that the situation in Iran is very personal to you. So I want to talk to you about that. The protests that we've seen in Iran, is there more than just the political aspect of it? Is there any evidence that suggests a broader ideological shift among Iranians, younger Iranians?
Well, as in the US, we are seeing everything political. It is becoming a right and left thing, which shouldn't be, because we are talking about human rights, human freedom. Human are living like human. And we are seeing in Iranian government under this tyranny and oppression, people haven't been experiencing the life that they supposed to have. And this is a reaction to people for so many generations that under oppression, under abuse, under persecution, and no freedom. So we are seeing these peoples right now, they are saying basically, I prefer to be free or die. And they are choosing life over death. And if that means if they are not going to be free, they don't want to live, basically. And this is their reaction. This is not political. I am not speaking from a theory. I'm speaking from a memory. And I fled to America for my life. I fled to America for my freedom. And I know what this means to Iranian people.
Okay, so we know you converted to Christianity. Are there other people, other Iranians that you know of who are in the same situation, who turned to Christianity?
Oh, absolutely. Our primary ministry is to Iran and Turkey, which I am from Turkey, and a lot of Iranians speak my language as well. And there are so many people are coming to Christ right now in Iran. They are hungry and thirsty for truth right now. And they are running from this evil regime and ideology with all their hearts, and they want to find the truth. It's not about the existence of God in their minds. It's about finding true God right now.
Okay, so you said earlier that for Iranians, freedom is the most important thing right now. It's more important than death. So on that note, the Iranian regime wants human chains around power plants in Iran because President Trump said he could be targeting it tonight. So I have a clip here of President Trump speaking about this. Let's just take a quick look at this clip.
Why would they want you to blow up their infrastructure, to cut off their power? Wouldn't that be punishing Iranians for the actions of the regime?
They would be willing and it's suffering. They would be willing to suffer that in order to have freedom. The Iranians have, and we've had numerous intercepts. Please keep bombing. Bombs that are dropping near their homes. Please keep bombing. Do it. And these are people that are living where the bombs are exploding. And when we leave and we're not hitting those areas, they're saying, please come back, come back, come back.
Okay, your comments on what President Trump is saying, please keep bombing.
Yes, I have friends in Iran right now. I have a friend in America. Her family is in Iran. And these are not like, I'm not talking about few people. And they are like, whatever it takes. They are literally inviting Trump to bomb Iran when they are in Iran. Because they are like, if this is not going to happen right now, it is never going to happen. They see it as an opportunity. And they are being kamikazes. They are being sacrificed, human sacrifice for the next generations to come, because they know that they cannot live under this tyranny, oppression, and abuse anymore.
Okay, so another issue here. Is jihad in America a real concern? Can you talk to us about this?
Absolutely. I was part of it. I lived this. When I was in Turkey, I was married to a man who introduced me different types of jihad. His family was involved in this type of jihad, which is economical jihad, educational jihad, media jihad. We are seeing right now Islam is a peaceful religion lie, and we are seeing it population jihad. Let's populate the Western world and putting people, politicians in powerful places. These are all forms of jihad. Jihad is not only physical, it is not only with tanks and bombs, it is also an ideology that invades, invisibly, quietly into the Western world and invade this world.
Okay, so can you also comment on, because you said earlier that you know of people in Iran who are supporting President Trump. In your view, what would be the most effective Western support for Iranian freedom right now?
Well, supporting government is one thing, absolutely, and it is. And we shouldn't be thinking they are over there and we are here. Muslims are here. It's not only Muslims are here. Jihadists, radical Islamist Muslims are here, and that is why we need to support what is happening right now, because we are seeing history is written in our own eyes, and we are seeing God is liberating one nation after centuries of slavery from this evil regime. And that is very important. And people are not seeing it, unfortunately, turning into a political game and right and left thing in America. We shouldn't be. It is just they are doing it out of nothing but ignorance.
So in your view, what would you need to see personally to make you be sure that the Iranian regime is gone forever?
Well, we saw this in the past under Bush administration, that we were in Iraq. As soon as a new government came, we took our troops away from Iraq. What happened? ISIS birthed because of that. So in Afghanistan, as soon as new government came, we took our troops and we lost billions, maybe trillions of dollars, technical equipment and new technology. We left everything there. If this happens in Iran, then everything is in vain. We cannot just hit and run. This is going to take at least several decades to be there to ensure Iranians' people's safety and freedom under a healthy government. It's going to take a while to establish that. If we hit and run, we are just going to open the arena for another terrorist group to come and be in dictatorship in Iran.
Okay, just one last question. What do you think is Israel's role right now in this situation?
Israel's role is very important. As a matter of fact, Israel has been, as we all know, bullied by Iran, and Iran has been supporting the terrorist groups. And of course, Israel is going to be a great ally for America. However, Israel is always fighting for her existence. And that is very important to understand. When America is helping for the freedom of Iranians, but on the other hand, Israel is protecting herself. Israel is fighting for her freedom as well. And Israel has been bullied by Iran for a long time. So it is a very personal war for Israel right now between Israel and Iran. And they're going to do everything possible that Iran won't be another threat in the upcoming years.
Okay, again, thank you for joining us on this program today. Good to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
A significant step in the Trump administration's effort to crack down on the misuse of public funds, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche just announced the creation of a National Fraud Enforcement Division at the Department of Justice with an additional 93 prosecutors in every district across the country. Voters in Wisconsin and Georgia head to the polls in key races that could shape the political landscape ahead of the midterms. More news after this break. Don't go away.
Are you sitting at home living in pain? Maybe it's in your hands, maybe your back or your hips. The good news is you don't need to live in pain. Why? Because there is Omega XL, a one-of-a-kind, natural, powerful joint relief supplement created from the green lip mussels of New Zealand. Drug-free, non-habit forming. It's small, easy to swallow, and it's backed by more than 40 years of clinical research. If you're experiencing daily aches and pains due to aging and overuse, try Omega XL. Just ask anybody who uses it. The results are undeniable.
I had a lot of joint pain, and that slowed me down.
I had considerable pain in my back.
Really felt the pain. I mean, in my ankles and in my heels.
I'm telling you about something that's gonna change your life. It has revived me.
This works.
I'm not a prisoner anymore to my pain.
As I was getting older, my joints started to feel that wear and tear. But then I tried Omega XL, and it changed my life. Today I'm here at my ranch exercising some of my polo ponies. So as you get older, it gets tougher. I was starting to suffer some of that business, and then I ran into somebody who said, look, you should try Omega XL. And look what it's done. I feel better than I felt in the last 30 years. And Omega XL gave me the ability to get back in the saddle. It works great. If you're in pain, I want you to know that there is real hope out there. I'm living proof. See the difference it can make in your life, just like it did in mine.
Call now or order online to receive our special TV offer. Buy one bottle of Omega XL and get a second free. Plus, we'll also include a free bottle of Vitamin XL D3. 2 free bottles for the price of 1 bottle of Omega XL. A total value of $115. You pay only $49.95 and it ships free. Plus, you get a money-back guarantee. Buy one, get 2 free. Call or go online right now.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche announcing the Department of Justice is establishing a National Fraud Enforcement Division along with a detention center to tackle the high levels of fraud involving taxpayer money.
Its core mission will be to zealously investigate and prosecute those who steal taxpayer dollars and rip off the American people. Our vision is to build a robust fraud-fighting squad capable of investigating and prosecuting the full spectrum of fraud against taxpayer dollars.
Blanche says DOJ staff will have this division with the department's best prosecutors, bringing together experts in healthcare fraud, tax fraud, benefits fraud, and corporate fraud. He says every U.S. Attorney's Office will also join the fight, meaning there will be an additional 93 prosecutors in every district tackling fraud. Blanche says the National Fraud Detention Center will be a permanent prosecutor-led multi-agency team that will use data analytics to find those responsible for defrauding federal government programs. And in Georgia today, voters are choosing a successor to former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Republican Clay Fuller faces Democrat Harris in a special runoff. Here's more.
Harris is a retired Army brigadier general and cattle rancher. His campaign is focused on challenging what he calls out-of-touch politicians from both parties. Fuller has President Trump's endorsement and is favored in the deep red district that President Trump carried by 37 points in 2024. Greene resigned from Congress in January. The winner of today's runoff will fill her seat into next January. Both candidates have already filed to run in the regular primaries this fall. And in Wisconsin, voters head to the polls today to decide a Supreme Court race that could reshape the state's judiciary. Democrat-backed Chris Taylor faces Republican-backed Maria Lazar. Taylor is an appeals court judge and former Democratic legislator. She focused her campaign on abortion access and economic issues. Her opponent, Maria Lazar, is also an appeals court judge. She has defended her pro-life positions and emphasized her judicial experience under former Governor Scott Walker. A victory for Taylor would give liberals a 5-2 majority in Wisconsin's Supreme Court. Today's contests in Wisconsin and Georgia are seen as early indicators of voter sentiment ahead of the midterm elections.
California's high-speed rail project connecting Los Angeles to San Francisco is now estimated to cost $126 billion. In February, the state's high-speed rail authority had forecast $39 billion in capital funding through 2020-2045. Rail Authority board member Anthony Williams addressed the $87 billion shortfall in an interview with CBS's 60 Minutes, calling it a big gap to fill. Williams also admitted that there hadn't been enough financing to complete the rail line when construction started. Voters approved the project in 2008. The railway was initially supposed to cost around $33 billion, with an original completion date of 2020. U.S. universities and colleges are receiving billions in foreign funding. The Department of Education released data in February showcasing over $5.2 billion in foreign gifts and contracts in 2025. Institutions of higher education are required to disclose foreign gifts and contracts valued at $250,000 or more annually. According to the department, American universities have received over $67 billion in foreign funding since 1986. The most recent disclosures from 2025 showed over $1 billion in funding from Qatar, more than $528 million from China, and $285 billion from Saudi Arabia. The top university recipients of those foreign funds were Carnegie Mellon University, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Stanford University, and Harvard. NASA releases new images captured by the crew of Artemis 2. One photo shows striking similarities to another taken during the Apollo 8 mission 58 years ago. Stay tuned for more after this quick break.
has lasted 5,000 years was once almost lost. Now, the world awaits the divine culture's return. See it at least once in your lifetime. Shen Yun returns to David Koch Theater, March 25th through April 12th. Get your tickets now at shenyun.com.
Have you heard what's happening at Mathis Home? Our spring style event is going on now, with hundreds of options for your new dining room. This 52-inch table is a great deal. It's just $4.99 in your choice of finishes. Mix and match chairs to complete the look that's just right for you. You can also get it with a marble top or in a larger size for extra seating. We have your style in stock now with fast, free delivery. Get your new dining room and save at your furniture superstore, Mathis Home.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
They're just young people, hungry, homeless, and vulnerable. Covenant House is helping young adults facing homelessness. We're providing safe shelter to thousands, but the need is overwhelming. Please call or go online now. With your gift of $19 a month, we'll send you this blanket as a reminder of the comfort your gift provides a young person tonight. You'll provide safe shelter, hot meals, and medical care. Call the number on your screen or go online to safeplacetosleep.org.
Say goodbye to harsh, bitter coffee and hello to a delicious, smooth brew. With specialty quality beans, expertly roasted in-house, you'll taste the difference with every sip. Fermented with a blend of 50 enzymes, Days Coffee delivers a rich brew like no other. Made with the highest grade specialty beans available, you're sure to taste the difference. Elevate your morning with Days Enzyme Fermented Coffee.
When it comes to disasters and emergencies, it's not a matter of if, but when.
I'm relying on luck, but who knows if it'll be on my side.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Take control at ready.gov/olderadults.
NASA's Artemis II astronauts have flown further from Earth than any humans before, and now they're heading home. The space agency releasing new images captured during their lunar flyby. One photograph bears striking similarities to the iconic Earthrise image taken by astronaut Bill Anders 58 years ago, earlier during the Apollo 8 mission. A separate image released by NASA shows the rings of the moon's Oriental Basin captured by the Artemis II crew as they circle the moon. Another stunning photo shows the moon eclipsing the sun as the crew pass the far side of the moon. Michigan is back on top of college basketball. The Wolverines defeating UConn 69-63 to claim their second national championship, their first since 1989. Elliot Cadeau led the way last night with 19 points and was named Most Outstanding Player. The Wolverines overcame a slow start in the first half, shooting just 0 for 8 from three-point range, but they made up for it by dominating inside the paint at the free throw line. Coach Dusty May inherited a program that went 8-24 in the 2023-24 season. He praised his team's defense and resilience. Michigan held UConn to around 31% shooting, forcing turnovers and controlling the paint despite poor perimeter shooting. UConn fought to the end, but late free throws and a clutch three-pointer from McKinney sealed the victory. The Wolverines became the first title-winning team in college basketball history to start 5 transfers.
We weren't very good early in the year. The first
2 exhibitions. We beat St. John's, but they weren't St. John's yet. And then we didn't play well. And at that point, we considered pivoting and changing our lineup and going a different direction and maybe admitting failure for our vision. And because of our staff, I remember the day like it was yesterday. We were in the conference room and we did a deep dive in everything that you can come up with to try to predict whether we thought it would work. And once we left that meeting, we were more committed than ever.
I mean, they're legit. I mean, they're definitely, deserve to win the national championship. They're clearly the best team in the country this year. They're just so hard to score against at the rim. I could talk about the threes that we missed, and I thought we had a lot of good threes that we missed, but they just made it so tough on us around the rim.
Cherry blossoms are popping up across New York City. Popular spots include Brooklyn Botanic Garden and Sakura Park, and of course Central Park, which is drawing crowds to watch the short-lived display of color. NTD's Nicole Bani has more.
Right now, I'm standing here in Central Park, and behind me we have a beautiful example of a classic cherry blossom tree in full bloom. And New York City is really showing up and enjoying this beautiful scenery. We have people having small picnics, taking pictures, and just enjoying the beautiful pink colors. New York City's cherry blossoms trace back to a gift from Japan in 1912. Symbolizing friendship between the two countries, now Central Park has hundreds of cherry trees, including Yoshino and Kwanzan varieties, which bloom in shades of white and pink. Some of the oldest in the park are more than 100 years old and continue to draw visitors every spring.
It's so beautiful. Like last year I couldn't see them, but like they look so nice. Cherry blossoms is like a new season, like a new start. It's just like fresh.
For some, seeing the cherry blossoms is more than just about the view.
Our first day in New York, so I think I'm always going to remember cherry blossoms just tied to the first day.
I think they're gorgeous. And after a long winter, many say the bloom brings a sense of energy back into the city.
A couple weeks ago it was snowing and cold and there was nothing on the trees, and now they're just here. It kind of makes, honestly, it's just beautiful. It makes me feel got a lot of joy.
Not only does spring show life, it also shows everyone coming back outside and no longer being sheltered in or hibernating, more or less.
You can track the blooms in real time using the Central Park's Conservancy Cherry Blossom Tracker online to make sure you can catch the best views. If you're looking to catch the peak cherry blossom season, it will be from around mid to late April. However, once the flowers are in bloom, they last only around 7 to 10 days. Nicole Bani, NTD News, New York.
Astronauts aboard Artemis 2 are revealing what they saw during their journey around the moon. We'll take you live to their post-flyby debrief right here on NTD after this break. Stay tuned.
What if kids in America didn't have to go to bed hungry tonight? What if our moms, dads, and grandparents could put healthy food on the table every day to help us grow strong? What if all of our friends and neighbors had fresh food too, and there was no hunger at all in America? And what if there was a way today for you to help? Call now or go online to helpfeedingamerica.org and give $19 a month, just 63 cents a day. So many of us don't have enough food to eat, but your monthly gift means families across the country and in your community can fill plates with food. Kids can get healthy meals year-round, even when school's out, and our neighbors can have fresh food. Food that moms, dads, entire families need to thrive. But right now, more people are facing hunger. Feeding America works from coast to coast with partner food banks, food pantries, and meal programs. It takes all of us to make that happen. Will you help too? Please call the number on your screen or go online to helpfeedingamerica.org and give just $19 a month. And we'll send you this free canvas grocery bag. It's our way of saying thank you for helping to end hunger for our neighbors. Because no kid, no mom or dad, nobody should go hungry in America. Nobody. So what if today was the day you could help nourish futures for our friends, our families, for all of us. Ending hunger is possible. What if we end it together? Call or give online today at helpfeedingamerica.org and your gift can be doubled. Thank you.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind.